Hi everybody, Rich here. Thank you for watching this highly captivating church update where I, your humble guide, am going to guide you through some very important but not particularly exciting health and safety information and expectations that we want to make you aware of at the start of this year. I'm going to do that by speaking about why, where, who and what. Why? I am sure you would agree that it is a massively positive blessing to our church that we get to utilize the building of King Edward's Girls' School on a Sunday morning. That is a massive strategic win for our church. Being right across from the university in a building that has space for us, that welcomes us really well, that accommodates our different needs and groups and breakout spaces, and allows us to gather as a church publicly and invite people in to a public building in a space that's not our own is a massive privilege and hugely helps us as a church. But with that privilege comes some responsibilities that we want to steward really, really well as a church together. And those three things are the building. We want to steward our use of the building really well and look after it. That's important because we really want to steward our relationship with the school well. That is really important for us. And we also want to steward and look after and honor the God-made, God-created, God-loved people who come into this space kind of on our watch as we invite them and invite you in to our church gatherings. So this boring video that you have to watch and I have to make really matters because those three things really matter. And so I just ask for your grace to listen to this information and to follow it, if that's okay. Starting with where, as in where in this building, King Edward's Girls' School, are we free to be church family together on a Sunday morning? Did you know that we have not hired the whole building? We haven't hired the whole site. We have a contractual agreement in place for the areas of the site that we need for our purposes on a Sunday during the times that we need them. And therefore, church family, listen up. Those places that we have hired must be the only places that we, whatever our age, go when we are at the school. For the vast majority of us, each Sunday, inside the building, that's the following places. The main hall. Pretty lucky we've got that one. Helpfully, the entrance space to come into the main hall. You're also allowed to go to the toilet when you're here, praise the Lord, and the corridor that gets you to those toilets, you're also allowed to walk down, which is really useful, isn't it? For a smaller minority of the church, you will also need to access the kids and tots rooms, which are in different locations. And of course, you're allowed to use the corridors that take you to those rooms. Either side of the hall is fine. But crucially, unless you are a children's worker, those children's work rooms and the corridors that you would use to access them down either side are only to be accessed during the allotted times that those groups take place. And so you can use those corridors to take or go to those groups, or collect or return from those groups, but not before that and not after that. To make it really clear, those corridors are not to be accessed by anyone at any other times other than when dropping off or collecting for those group sessions. Before the meeting and after the meeting, those corridors, we are not free to be in those corridors, my dear friends. To help you with this, there will be some really clear signs arriving soon, which will act as a visual prompt and will just check your innocent but wandering spirit that happens to be wandering out of bounds. And you will see the signs. You'll remember this video and you will obey those signs with a joy abounding in your heart. And I'm very thankful. Outside the building, it's a little bit more obvious. We're good in the car park, we're good to walk up to the school, and we're even allowed to use the near side of the playing field, so kids can play on there And that's great, but we're not allowed anywhere else. So we're not allowed on the tennis courts, the general grounds, the gardens, the swimming pool, the AstroTurf, the roof, etc. Okay. Now we're mostly done. You've been really patient. That's where, but much more quickly, who and what. Who, as in who is responsible for children and young people whilst you're on site on a Sunday morning. It's really simple. During the entire time, from arriving, through the refreshments time when you're catching up with someone about their week, through sung worship, in the break, right up to when any child is dropped off at a kids group, and immediately again once they have been collected from that kids group, the responsibility for those children lies with their parents or carers. Now, how that looks is obviously really different if the child is 2 or 7 or 15 or 17 and 364 days. We know that, you know that, and every child is different. And so that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that we need to be responsible for our children when on site, and that sits with us individually as parents and carers. To make it really specific and clear, parents and carers in our gatherings are expected to know where their child is at all times on this premises and need to know that they are responsible for the children's safety and the children's adherence to these expectations that we're setting out as gently and as lovingly and as clearly as we can. During the children's groups, our DBS superhero legends, the kids and tots teams, take responsibility officially from the moment of drop-off, and as soon as those kids are collected, they release responsibility back to the parent or carer. And that's the case then through whatever remaining time you're on site, catching up with people, chatting to people, you are, as a parent or carer, responsible for your child. Last bit of information, what? What should we do in light of this update? A few things. Everybody, please come to the space ready to focus on God and loving each other. That is the focus. That's why we hired a building in the first place. To do that, let's please enjoy our time as church family within the spaces that we have hired from the school and not beyond those spaces, please. Remember, the signs are going to help you, so look out for the signs and just follow their prompts. If you have children, we expect you to make arrangements to know where they are at an age-appropriate level, and also take the initiative to communicate to your children or young people these expectations so that they understand what's being asked of them as well. Please, let's all recognize that we're on the same team, that we're all wanting to steward the building, steward the relationship with the school, and look after one another. And so if a team member or a leader in the church asks you to adhere to these expectations, they are to do that in a spirit of love, care, warmth, and gentleness. And so should we receive it in that same spirit, because we're all on the same team. It's just not that deep, guys. All this information is on the South website, and if you have any questions, concerns, or substantial rebukes to dish out, please feel free to direct all of that to Johnny, anyone in the core team or the eldership. And if it's by email, please use hello@churchcentral.org.uk to raise your question or clarify something. Thank you for listening. God bless you for your perseverance. Goodbye.